Good morning. This is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. I would like to pose a question to you this morning and to me this morning. I'm studying, and as I study, God reveals things to me. And as I'm studying over here in Matthew 24, I'm studying that it says at the end, there will be a group of elect, God's elect, all come together. How would we all come together? How would all of God's elect all over the earth be able to come together? I can tell you exactly how. I can see how. You can see how. You're watching me this morning. God's elect today can all come together on this computer. Now, if there wasn't but a handful of eight on this earth, there was only 8 in Noah's day, 8 people that had their mind on God. The rest of the world scoffed him. The rest of the world said, no God for me, no God for me. We have what we want. We've got wine, we've got women, and we've got song. And we have physical pleasure. And our physical pleasure is going to supersede anything that God would say or have for us that would call our physical pleasure. We want to live for our physical pleasure. And that's what they were doing. Their minds were continually evil, the Bible said. In what manner? As a man will say, a wife, 4 or 5 children, he's got a little farm, and he's over there working, and he's happy in his flesh, and God comes to him and says, hey, mister, I know you look good. I know you're not out there doing what the rest of the world's doing. You're not out there robbing, stealing, killing, murdering, and everything. But you have left me out of your life. And the man says, well, I don't really need you, God. I've got this garden. It's growing me good enough food to eat. I've got these 2 or 3 children that are doing very well. I've got this lovely wife, this nice house. I've got plenty of mules. And everything's rocking on just fine. And I would really rather not you bother me. God said, okay, I won't bother you. But there is a great flood coming. And when you leave here in that flood, you are not going to come and live with me forever. Because you are rejecting me now, you are going to be cursed by your own rejection. It's not a curse I'm putting on you. It's a curse you're putting on yourself. You're putting this curse on yourself. Now, I'm going to tell you something right here this morning that you need to see. A fact that you can curse yourself in your daily living. You can cause your body to be headed to the place to where it is going to physically break down if you do not curb your activities. A person who continues to smoke and say, well, my uncle did, my grandmother did, I got this 94-year-old grandfather that it didn't bother and everything. You can use all of the excuses you want to. But if you continue to suck in that smoke into your lungs and to burn that acid on that paper off the outside of that cigarette, you are going to trigger a thing called cancer that we're all born with. Every single solitary person that's born today in sin is born with their body decaying. Now, originally in the Garden of Eden, when God made this body, he did not make it to decay. He made it to rejuvenate itself every 7 years, a complete new body. Methuselah lived 969 years. Right under him were many others that lived 900 and something years. The first group of men on this earth from Adam on for the first 900 years possibly knew each other throughout those years from Adam on, and could have known Adam, and could have known Seth and Methuselah were akin, and they all were from Adam. So we know that this body was made to live forever. That was God's original plan. What happened? What happened was the devil sinned, brought sin on him. Adam, the first Adam, sinned and brought this thing on the earth that man's body would begin to die younger and younger and younger and younger and younger. The further and further and further away from God you get, the younger the body dies. And that's the fact. That is the fact. People who have followed God closely, lived as close to God as they can, have taken care of their body spiritually and physically, live long and healthy lives. But the person who forgets God, the Bible said, the man who forgets God will be in a terrible, terrible place throughout his life. Now, back in the Word, as those days were, the days of Noah were, in chapter 24 and verse 37, as the days of Noah were, one will be taken and one will be left. When the Lord comes on the scene, there are going to be two people out here together. One will be taken and one will be left. It says right at the end here, mother can be against father, father against mother, sons against fathers, fathers against children. And we see that today. We see in these, a very, very bad statement would be, well, I'm thinking, I won't say it, but these depict the wickedness of the world today, these judge things on the television, where a mother would bring her daughter in there and sue her, or a daughter would bring her mother in there and sue her. These judges seem to like to feed, they like to feed on the dregs of the devil, how the devil has entered into families and caused a child to be against their mother. Just exactly opposite of what God had prepared and made. Listen, a mother's love would never sue a child. This is a deceived mother by the devil to sue her child. And by the way, if her child has done the things her child has done that they portray on the TV, it's possibly because the mother failed in the rearing of that child up. So we pay for that which we do on this earth today in the flesh. All right, let's look at this. 24 and 51. Weeping and gnashing of teeth. You could study that. Study that out. Study the parable again. Go on to chapter 25 and verse 1. Study the parable of the 10 virgins and be prepared. You can miss the city. You can miss the calling. You can miss it by not being in where you think you are. Do you think you're in? Can you look at your life in a mirror? Can you look at your life in the window of this screen and see yourself and say, I am following Jesus Christ. I am following the Lord on a daily basis. I do not take his name in vain. I do not cuss and swear. I do not do these things that come from the heart that belong to the devil. I have been born again. I cannot do these things because the Lord that's in me will not let me do them. He convicts me of it. Are you in that place? If you're not, my friend, you perhaps have missed the mark. You need to weigh yourself in the balance of the Bible and look at that. Our time is come and gone. It's been fine being with you today.